Minority Leader.
I'd ask my colleague a question. What would be wrong with 1 hour of debate on every amendment to this bill? What is the objection to that, since the majority is proposing no debate on amendments and then saying it's an open process? What is wrong with 1 hour of debate on every amendment offered to this bill?
Mr. President.
Majority Whip.
Mr. President, I'd say in response to my friend, the Minority Leader, that it is as a result of their refusal to participate in the usual process of passing legislation through the regular order.
Senate will be in order.
That we have to resort to the budget reconciliation process. It has a set of statutory provisions and rules. There will be a fulsome debate. There's already been a debate on a bill that you haven't read. And I suggest you take the time to read it, and then we can talk about the details. But this bill, 142 pages compared to 2,700 pages in Obamacare, it doesn't take that long to read. This is a start. This is not the finish. And this is called the normal legislative process. And I suggest colleagues, rather than criticize a bill that they haven't read, they read it, and then let's have a credible debate.
Mr. President.
Democratic Leader.
I would ask my friend, the Majority Whip from Texas, a series of questions. What was the date that reconciliation was added to the budget resolution, which said we didn't need any Democratic votes? Was it May? Was it April? Was it March? Or was it the very beginning of this session? I'd ask him another question. Where were the meetings held to discuss this bill, and were any Democrats invited? I'd ask him another question. Why did the Majority Leader not accept our offer to go into the old Senate chamber, 100 senators, no press, no anything else, and debate the bill? And how can my good friend, and he is a good friend, we're on the bikes in the morning together, my good friend from Texas, say that there was a bipartisan process when at the outset, our Republican colleagues said the only thing we'll debate is repeal and then replace. There was no discussion of whether repeal was the right thing to do or the wrong thing to do. And now, overwhelmingly, the American people prefer fixing Obamacare, which we offered to do, than repeal and replace. And it's no wonder, I would say to my colleague, as he answers these questions, that this bill is being brought in the dark of night. It is because my colleagues on the other side of the aisle are ashamed of the bill, because believe you me, Mr. President, if they liked this bill, they'd have brass bands down every main street in America talking about it. But they're trying to sneak it through because mainly their goal is a tax cut for the rich. So I'd ask my colleague to answer those three questions, and then he can respond to my rhetoric.
Mr. President, I'm really taken aback by the characterization of the Minority Leader here. The minority has made it clear that you don't want to participate in the process of rescuing the American people from the failures of Obamacare.
Senate will be in order.
It's been made clear to us that you don't want to participate in the process, and you are turning a blind eye to the people, to millions of people who are being hurt today by outrageous premiums, deductibles they can't afford, and a loss of choices because insurance companies have pulled out of the individual market. Your response to them is, we don't care. We care. And we're doing our best to deal with this. This is like going by a car accident where somebody's seriously injured, and rather than stopping and rendering aid, just driving on by. That's what our colleagues on the other side are doing. They're turning a blind eye, driving right on by a seriously injured person in a car accident. We are coming to the rescue of the people, the millions of people who are being hurt by Obamacare today. We would love to have our Democratic friends join us and do something truly sustainable. But you have to remember, my friends, how this started. Democrats jammed Obamacare through on a party line vote, and Republicans weren't able to participate in that process. So what we are trying to do is we're trying to save the people who are currently being hurt and whose health care has become unaffordable. If you would like to join us in this process, we'd love to have you. But failing that, we're going to get it done, and you can just drive right by the car wreck.
Mr. President.
Minority Leader.
Here's the correct analogy. Yes, there's been an accident. Yes, someone needs help. Someone who's not a doctor, not a physician, doesn't know how to help the patient. Our Republican friends go by the side of the road, but they don't know what to do. So the Democrats come by. We're doctors. We say we know how to fix this system. We know how to fix this patient. And the Republicans say, nope, don't come by. Don't help us. We'll drive right by. And now the patient is ailing. But I'd ask my colleague, let's forget the past for the moment, because we got a much better argument than you. We had hundreds of amendments offered by Republicans that became part of our bill. I doubt there'll be a single Democratic amendment that will be. We had hours of hearings, hours of debates. You didn't. So you may not have thought the process was perfect. It's a lot more open than yours. But I have a proposal to my friend. Let us forget this draft bill. Let us right now, Democrats and Republicans, sit down and try to come up with a bipartisan bill. We're willing to do it today, now, this minute. Will you accept that offer?
Mr. President.
Senate will be in order.
Mr. President, if I thought that was a sincere offer, I would take it in a minute, in a New York minute. But it's not.
Senate will be in order.
The fact of the matter is that insurance companies are having to go to the state regulators as we speak to get insurance rates approved for 2018. That's the urgency that we are experiencing here. And then unless we act in an expedited fashion here very soon, we're going to see millions of people have their insurance rates raised by another double digits. It's been 105% since 2013. 105%. Obamacare was sold under the premise that families of four would see a reduction of $2,500. If you liked your policy, you can keep your policy. If you like your doctor, you can keep your doctor. All of that's false. False. This is a failed experiment. They may not be willing to help, but we will. And we will get it done and help the American people who are being hurt by the failure of Obamacare today.